to myself. So we get so caught up that we forget who we are and whose we are. And so we need to think about these things. Think about the fact that it is a privilege and it's an honor to come into the house of God and to serve and to lift our hands. To think about the fact that it is a blessing that some people wish they could. There are people at home who wish they could just come and be at the gate of the house of God, just to hear an earful of word that is available to you in abundance. There are people all the way overseas who are being killed for a little page of a piece of a Bible. And here you have the whole book and don't know Genesis from Luke.
Or Revelations.
People of God, we got to do better. We got to do better. Because if we don't, God's plan is still going to go forward. And you will be required. You will have to answer to God for why he put you in this position and you didn't serve. So, another thing that Mordecai would say to Esther is that you are not here by accident. And who knoweth whether thou art come into the kingdom for such a time as this. You are not here by mistake. You are not a mistake. You are not here by a mistake. Where you are is where God planted you to be for the time and the place that you are here. He put you here for a reason. You have purpose breathing in and out of your lungs. You exude purpose. God didn't make you by accident. You weren't a coincidence. You weren't a random collection of cells that assembled together. You're here with a purpose. Remember that purpose. Reflect on that purpose. God created you. And that's one of the lies that the enemy wants his people to believe. The lie that the enemy wants his people to believe is that they are here without mistake, that their lives have no meaning, that they're just here taking up air, that they just exist. The spirit of suicide runs rampant because people don't see their purpose, because they have the voice of the enemy in their ear, telling them time and time again to take your life because you are a waste of space. You are not here by accident. Where you are in your life, what you're doing, the people who are in your life are not here by accident. They're here to grow you. If they're your enemies, they're here to grow you. If they're your friends, they're here to heal you and to encourage and to build you up. Nothing is an accident. We're all here by God's divine plan, position, and design. And it's only when we realize that can we begin the process of fulfilling what God planned for us and, well, experiencing the joy of the Lord. When God promotes, we talked about when the enemy promotes. Now let's talk about when God promotes. When God promotes, let's look at the scripture. It says, and the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the other virgins, so that he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. She was a replacement. If she was a replacement, who in the world would she be to think that she couldn't be replaced? Because the first queen didn't do right. God had appointed another queen in the place. God puts people in position to protect entire nations from the attack of the enemy in order to fulfill his promises. God has promised that some things will come to pass. And I've never known God to be a promise maker. Men let me down all the time. Men, woman, humankind will let you down all the time. They break promises as quickly as they make them.
Yeah.
But I've never known God to be a promise breaker. And God has promised some things that they were going to come to pass. And the beautiful thing about it is he wants to use you. Let's look at when God promotes you. Let's look at Psalms 3. But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high, or the lifter of my head in the KJV. I lie down to sleep and I wake again because the Lord sustains me. The Lord is my keeper. Anytime God promotes you, you're in that position and you don't have to worry about anybody else taking it unless you are disobedient. Esther was protected. She was protected, or, excuse me, should I say Hadassah was protected. God gave her natural beauty because he knew that for the position in which she was going to be, she needed to be beautiful enough to catch the eye of the queen, to catch the eye of the king, excuse me. God gave Esther a crown. It wasn't that the king of Persia put the crown on Esther's head. It was that God was the one who allowed the king to be the instrument that put the crown on Esther's head. God was really the vehicle behind Esther's crown. He was the one who elevated her and set that crown on her head. But she had got cute with that crown. Oh, she started feeling that crown. She got real cute. She could rest easy in comfort and contentment. According to Psalms 3, when you're righteous, when you're trusting in God, and he becomes your glory and the lifter of your head, you sleep better. You don't got to worry about the things that the world worries about. You know, they got medication all up everywhere about anxiety. People dealing with anxiety. People can't sleep. They got sleeping pills. They got waking pills, sleeping pills. The righteous rest easy. It doesn't matter if they are in a royal palace or if they are on a bed of grass or if they're on the sidewalk. They sleep easy because they know that God protects them. They go to sleep with a clear conscience. They don't have to worry about waking up at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock with a guilty conscience where it's only you and yourself and your thoughts, and you got to worry about who's running up behind you trying to get you. These things keep people awake at night. You don't got to be depressed. God will give his people rest. And the thing about Hadassah, or Esther as we call her, is she didn't always have an easy life, but the Lord always provided. She didn't miss a meal. She didn't go hungry. She didn't go without. As a matter of fact, now as queen, she had more than she knew what to do with, and she needed a whole entourage of people just to help her handle what the Lord had blessed her with. When God promotes you, he becomes your everything. He is your glory. He's the one that gave you that shine. He's the one that gave you that sparkle. Yes. God had truly promoted Esther. But like I said, there are some things going on behind the scenes here. The enemy will kill an entire nation to prevent the birth of one person, Jesus. And his methods have not changed. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that we were just talking about that in Sunday school, how God had said that he would put an enmity, a hatred, a continual hatred between the seed of woman and the seed of the enemy, and that the snake will bruise the heel, but The seed of woman would bruise his head. And when you step on something's head, you kill it. Let's talk about that. That meant that Jesus was going to come. That Satan had started a work where he was trying to get rid of God's creation. And that God loved his creation so much that he was going to send them a redeemer. And you know, in the garden, the enemy tried to stop it from happening when he caused Adam and Eve to sin. Then he tried it again where we would come into the first murder between Cain and Abel. Then he would try it again. He would try to corrupt the humankind where he would send down these demonic forces to produce a mutant, inhuman, unnatural race of people, so much so that the Lord would have to wipe the earth clean. But the Lord still had a plan, and he preserved his select, chosen few. He preserved the righteous. So Noah, he couldn't get away with, the enemy couldn't get away with wiping out the entire bloodline because there was still yet that one. And from that one would birth the earth would regenerate itself again. And then we would find that wars would happen. And perversion would enter the earth. And there would be times where God would be so upset that he made man that he would shorten their lives. But see, ultimately, the enemy had a plan. The enemy had a plan. He was trying to stop Jesus from coming at any shape, fashion, or form. So he would send the Egyptian Pharaoh to kill off all of the Israelites. But that one baby would get away. That one baby would get away, but that one. And now we find the enemy again. He don't care about Haman. He don't care about Esther. He don't care about none of that. He's trying to get rid of Jesus. That's really what's going on here. That's why he's trying to wipe out the Jewish people. That's why he's trying to wipe out the children of God. Because somewhere among his people is that one who's going to save everybody. Who's going to have so much heaven in him that he ain't fit for hell. That one. And his tactics have not changed. The enemy has plagued entire generations with alcoholism, drugs, sexual perversion. Think of whatever it could be that you could find it if you just look back far enough in your bloodline. We all know what the Johnson demon looked like, and we know what the Harrison demon looked like. We know that them Harrisons got a drinking problem. They good, they can sing and they can dance, but them Harrisons can drink. They can drink like a fish. And we know that them Johnsons, oh well, let's not even go into them Johnsons. Them Johnsons are mercenaries. They kill anything just for looking at it wrong and funny. And this has been going on generation after generation after generation, and it's been allowed to grow, and it shouldn't have been allowed to exist because somebody didn't listen when God told them to kill it off. Get rid of it. So now we're here with Esther, and the entire nation is getting ready to die. The entire nation is at risk of genocide. And you know what? All she could do was give a cute excuse. Isn't that like some of us today? We got some cute excuses. Real cute. People outside are dying. People outside need us. They need the word of God in their life. They need a hug. They need care. They need someone to listen. Not to judge, but to listen. Do you know how lonely it is? As a person who's been born and raised in the house of God, I can tell you that at times in the house of God is where I have felt my loneliest. It's where I felt my loneliest. All I wanted was someone who wouldn't judge me. All I wanted was someone who would listen without judgment, who wouldn't go and tell Sister Sue and Sister Boo and then to get back to you. All I wanted was that, but I didn't have anybody because everybody's so much in their own stuff and what they going through that they didn't realize that I was dying in the church pew. Yeah. Going to church every Sunday and ready to kill myself. Dying. People are out here dying. It's real. It's real. And all these people want is what you have.
And that's true.
What you have to give. Esther as a queen, what did she have? She had her word. Her word could mean the salvation of her family. Her word, her intercession, her prayer to the king, her pleading to the king, her word. You ain't got to do a whole lot. Just speak a word. Encourage somebody. Pray for them. Esther's word saved her people. And you don't need a lot. God's not asking you to turn flips and do dips and do tricks. Sometimes it's something as simple as a word. Your word could save somebody. But as we see, like I said, the methods of the enemy have not changed. So we're going to wrap this up. God wants to use you. All this time I've been talking about Esther. I've been really talking about me, and I've really been talking about you. God wants to use you. You know where God has placed you. You know what God has appointed you to. You know where God has raised you up from. You know where he's brought you up from and where he's taking you to. He's blessed you. He's provided for you. He's brought you out of some things that would have killed most people. People have not survived the things that you have gone through. God has brought you and carried you through it. He's carried you, he's nurtured you, and he's clothed you, and he's given you a shine, and he's given you a glory, and he's given you beauty for all of those ashes. He's given you his glory for all of your pain. All of your tears are now diamonds in the crown that you wear in your personal life. You know what God has promoted you to. God wants to use you. And all you have to do is give a word. A word. That's all Esther did. All Esther did was she spoke up. She spoke to the king. And it changed everything. Just her word. When we speak a word, we're speaking a word of life. I'm not just talking about a, hey, how you doing? I'm talking about speaking life into somebody's spirit. I'm talking about speaking life where someone's been crying for saying, I love you, and really meaning it. Not that traditional church, but a real, I love you. I want to know how you are doing. I came here today because I couldn't wait to see you, to find out how you are doing, and I can't wait to find out. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you because you're you. God wants to use you. Your unique talents, your unique ways. God gave you that lift and that attitude and that click in your hip and that nice little stride that you walk for a reason, and it was to help somebody. You're a puzzle that's supposed to connect with somebody else, and they can't stand unless you connect to them. wants to use you. So that ends it. I want to know, are you too cute for the kingdom? That's a question I want you to ask yourself. Are you too cute for the kingdom? Don't get so cute that you forget who made you that way. Don't get so wrapped up in what God gave you that you can't see that he's put you there for a purpose, for such a time as this. That's it. I hope that somebody has gotten something from today, and that wraps that up.
Amen.
Okay.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.